rounder, and then basically traded Cam Newton for an XFL quarterback in PJ Walker. So in retrospect, they traded. Well, I guess you could back out and say so. They basically got rid of Cam Newton, Kyle Allen, and they got Teddy Bridgewater, a 5th-round pick, and PJ Walker. Cam's been on Instagram saying the Panthers gave up on him. I think it's more of a, and we've been talking about it since it happened. This is a regime change.
Yeah, it is.
And for that, as far as the Panthers go, new owner, new coach, and they've been saying it forever. The GM, NFL, professional basketball, baseball, all of them, they don't want to put their jobs on the line or have someone be. They didn't. Basically, the new coach didn't want Cam Newton to be his job. That's his job security, and they wanted to go with people that they trust. So, as far as the Panthers are concerned, I'm not as surprised. The Panthers fans shouldn't be because of the new coach and new owner. But the fact that his old coach not only didn't trade for him, he traded for the guy that there's 31 other teams. Zach, he could have traded for Andy Dalton, Jacoby Brissett. He could have signed any of these free agent quarterbacks. But instead, Ron Rivera chose to trade for the guy who replaced Cam in Carolina as a starter while he was out hurt. I mean, the fall / the drop in perception, even from, the fans can have their perception all they want, but the fact that Ron Rivera made the specific moves that he did as a Redskins fan, does that not tell you
it told me yesterday
everything you need to know about the situation of Cam?
Yep. It told me yesterday that if the coach that went to the NFC Championship, went to the Super Bowl, was in his MVP year that Cam did have. Right.
This would be like Belichick getting rid of Brady after 9 years, 10 years almost, because they were together the whole time.
To me, that tells me that there is a humongous question mark on his health. Other teams not even making an offer for him. They got a 4th-round pick for Nick Foles out of Miami.
Chicago.
Jacksonville to Chicago. Mm-hmm. And he's injury-prone himself. So if Nick Foles can get a 4th-round pick, now they did handle their situation a little bit better in Jacksonville than Carolina did. Carolina came out from the get-go. We've talked about this on this show when they asked where Cam Newton fit in on this, and the first thing they said was, we'll see if he's healthy.
Yeah.
And as soon as they said that, Luke Kuechly retires, I knew right then that Cam was done there. Am I upset when you lay out everything that you said at the beginning? We got Teddy Bridgewater, we got a 5th-round pick, and we got PJ Walker.
Mm-hmm. Right now, this second, is the quarterback situation not better than it was at any time during last year?
I think it's way better. That's my opinion.
All right. So you guys won 6 games, right? Is that how many?
Yeah, they started. I mean, they were doing very well. And then we had that. When we played the Tampa Bay game, they didn't give it to Cam at the end. You remember he didn't.
They faked it,
and it went to McCaffrey. Mm-hmm. And he went out. I knew then there's something wrong with Cam. And,
I thought it was when that play happened. A lot of people would say, obviously, something is wrong with Cam because usually in that situation, that's who they would give it to. As big as he is, and he scored a majority of his rushing touchdowns from less than, what would we say, 3 yards out?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But 56% of his touchdowns are from 3 yards out.
Yeah, but when they did that, to me, it wasn't just Cam's injured. To me, it was there's a culture change now. We're not just going to be the team that's got the running quarterback. We're trying to put Christian McCaffrey in the limelight. Yeah. We're trying to make this McCaffrey's team. I think that was, to me, a changing of the guard moment from Cam to Christian.
They were in that mode, and they were on the half-yard line. I mean, it makes no sense to do that play. So
what was it like? It was almost like a swing pass.
It was a swing pass. He went out to the pylon. So, and Kevin's saying, at any point in time, what was our record? We were 6-10.
I think 5.
We had gotten. We got 5 wins. I thought Kyle Allen won 5 games.
He won 5 in a row.
Yeah.
Then I don't know if you won another one, did you?
But
because Will Greer didn't win anything.
And you talking about getting a 5th round pick for Kyle Allen. We stole that because he's a turnover machine. he fumbles and throws interceptions like crazy.
You technically got more than what you
he
had
wasn't
in Kyle Allen
he
because he
wasn't
was
drafted.
undrafted.
Yeah.
So you got a draft pick for an undrafted player.
Our quarterback situation
The first
is better
overall
right now.
pick, Cam Newton, and Kyle Allen undrafted, you turned into a 5th-round pick.
Yes. And the thing that makes us better on that whole scenario is what you said. We got Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater was a quarterback trending up when he was playing for Minnesota. He never threw the ball very well up there, but he was managing offense pretty good. He went down to the Saints. He went to the Jets. Still wasn't healthy. Got down to the Saints, got in a good situation. Very good team. I think he went 5-0 with them last year. And I think he's better than Cam. That's just my opinion. I got friends that was just
passing wise, he definitely is.
Yeah, he might not run like that, but
playing
So
the quarterback
the question,
position. Yes, Teddy Bridgewater is better than Cam Newton. I won't give him athleticism, but you're not asking me to pick the better athlete. You're asking me to pick the better quarterback.
Cam was a wreck. What was you going to ask, Kevin?
Well, the only difference that I think Cam made as far as really impacting the team was inside the 10 when you had an option to run him because you mentioned the other day, he's so big he's going to fall for 2 yards. You're talking about you're on the 1 yard line. Why are you not using his big butt? And my thing was that he was always ciphering runs from the actual running backs.
Yeah.
Whether it's good or bad, that's but the thing is now in that situation you're on the goal line, Bridgewater is probably going to pass and they're going to run more regular plays to McCaffrey. Now McCaffrey, Zach, I think he and I think Matt and them, I think everyone's overrating him a little bit because if it was any other running back, if Zeke got the same number of touches, say McCaffrey did on passes, or whatever, they would all have the same numbers. Is what I think. I'm saying he got such an exorbitant amount of first receiver not there.
He was
swinging past.
He was 80, arguably 85% of that offense last year.
Well, he proved to me what he wasn't. He's not a good goal line back.
No,
he got stopped 4 or 5 times last year inside the 1 himself. So with that, they've got a different type of offense to run with that, and what that and it did make Cam dangerous. And one thing as an opposing fan, I always just got mad. I'm like, Cam's running on first or second down, so you have to sell out for that on the first 2 downs. Well, if you're an opposing guy, and that would leave people like Olsen open sometimes. But as a Panthers fan, that is the main question: is your quarterback? You can love Cam quarterback all you want. And that's how a lot of Cowboys fans were with Romo. Is your situation the same or better as it was a year ago? And I think that's what you really, as a realistic Panthers fan, you have to look at more than anything. Is your actual situation.
I just looking at it, obviously not a fan, but I try to critique.
You did go 5-11 last year.
I try to critique fairly, even with my team as well. I think Carolina, this is a great building block. This is a great building block because Teddy Bridgewater's not old. He's not old at all.
I think you got an opportunity. And
you can build around
in
him.
3 years, Zach. If y'all make the right draft picks, you might be the division champs in 3 years because Brady and Breeze ain't going to be there in 3 or 4 years.
And see,
so your only competition, and then that means Matt Ryan is only going to be 3 or 4 years down the road. So to me, if the Panthers are smart, even with Bridgewater this year, if you improve your defense, you're still going to win 6 games.
Yeah. Well,
so you can get to 10 in 2 or 3 years. I think you guys can get
Bridgewater
to 10.
is 27.
He's
only 27.
He's 26, 27 years old. That's Cam's 30. Okay, so let's look. I keep losing y'all.
I'm trying to figure out which one you're on top.
I'm good. Can you hear me now? No.
There you go.
Yeah. Cam's 30. Bridgewater's 26. Okay, so we paid him $20 million a year to come to us for a couple years. If he doesn't work out, what have we lost? Absolutely nothing. Kevin's talking about it's going to be 2 years before we get anywhere. If he is what they got him in for, then we'll give him another contract. If he's not, we can start over. We can have the pieces in place. So when we get that other person in, we will be building from the floor up.
Best case scenario is you build your pieces, and in 3 years, you have to franchise him.
Yeah.
Or if you don't want Bridgewater, you don't franchise him. You get in the draft or another free agent.
And it'd be worth looking to see who would be coming up in 3 years. But I like Teddy Bridgewater. I think he's well past the injury that he had. He's still young. Brady's 42. I mean, he's not a running quarterback. He's going to be able to play for a longer time. Cam was running quarterback. I'm just happy that we're not going to be playing backyard football every game where you drop back and, he's going to take off running. He was basically one against the defense.
I will say this. To me, in my mind, I think to me, I don't think you really even need to change the offense you were trying to run with Cam before he got injured. Because remember, they were already limiting how many times he was going to be able to have designed runs because they didn't want him to get it. They didn't want him to get injured.
He was already injured.
To me, this offense is almost tailor-made for Teddy Bridgewater. You've got a wide receiver or a running back, like he had in New Orleans in Alvin Kamara, who was dual threat. He can catch out of the backfield and also run the ball between the tackles if you need to give it to him. Okay, great. Teddy Bridgewater, what Cam has over Teddy Bridgewater is arm strength. Teddy does not have the biggest arm in the world, but it doesn't matter because he's deadly accurate. Okay, he learned behind Drew Brees. Let's not sit here and act like they weren't in the same quarterback room, spitting off of each other, and this probably didn't help Teddy Bridgewater in the long run. He went 5-0 on a team that had a great tight end in Jared Cook and Michael Thomas, who's the top 3 wide receiver in the league. But other than that, wide receiver-wise, they were almost in the same position that Carolina was in now. You could claim that DJ Moore could be the equivalent to your guys as Michael Thomas. And I know they're not, but he's the best receiver you have, and everybody else is kind of like subpar guys. If Greg Olsen doesn't leave, I think Teddy Bridgewater literally just walked into the same kind of scenario that he was in New Orleans. And I still think he technically does because Joe Brady was there as an offensive assistant to Sean Payton before he took the LSU passing coordinator job and now is the offensive coordinator for the Panthers. So to me, Teddy's going to walk in here, and I don't think you guys miss a beat on offense. It's the defense's part.
It's arguably that if you look at last year's season,
and you picked up Robbie Anderson.
Bridgewater might have run the offense better than Breeze did. Breeze is kind of downtrending, you know?
Easy.
He's kind of downtrending. Easy. Kevin is a huge Breeze fan. I like Breeze too.
I think Breeze is the. If I had one pass and I wanted someone to throw it and complete it, he would be the person.
Oh, he's accurate, especially as short as he is. So.
How tall are you?
5'11".
He's taller than you.
Mm-hmm. I know, but the problem, is because those offensive lines are just so huge there.
Well, to my point is, and I've tried to tell people for years, I don't think the height matters much at all because they're all throwing in windows anyway.
Yeah.
Cam's 6'6", but his release point is it not lower than Drew Brees's? Because Drew releases here, Cam releases here. It's got to be lower. Drew's has to be higher than Cam's release points.
Talking about release and stuff like that. They were talking about on one of the shows yesterday. I don't know if it was First Take or if it was the other one, Skip and Shannon. They was talking about Cam, and they said his mechanics were horrible before he got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And they said he had a foot injury. So you're not being able to plant.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, so that's going to exacerbate the football the way you throw it. And then you had a shoulder injury. He said, so he looked like a train wreck on the field trying to throw the football.
That's what I said.
I thought the only hope that I had was when we got Norv Turner a couple years ago, and I was hoping that Norv could change his, what's the word I'm trying to use, mechanics?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he did not. And when that didn't happen,
I've said this. I don't think I've said this here, or I might have off air to maybe Kevin or them. To me, and I've said this multiple times, Cam Newton is an amazing athlete. What he brings to the table athletic-wise cannot be, that can't be distinguished. We can't X that off the board. I have always questioned Cam Newton's coachability, and it's because in JUCO he won. When he went to college, transferred to Auburn, he won. Doing the same exact stuff he's doing now.
He's never had to. He's always had to win off of talent.
I don't know if, and now that he's on a level where everybody is talented.
That's where I was going with that.
I don't know if Cam Newton really put in the work, or if anybody really even came to him and said, look, your mechanics are sorry. You throw off your back foot a lot. You're always kind of leaned back, like you're always trying to put a little bit too much air underneath the ball. A guy his size does not need to throw off of his back foot because you're just going to sail it.
Kevin made a good point. I want to mention this, Kevin. You made this good point. You were talking about throwing it into windows.
Mm-hmm.
How much of the X's and O's does he really really know. You know what I'm saying about where to throw the football and touch.
Well, a couple of things on get to that, Hunter. As far as throwing the football, there's quarterbacks to me that throw guys open, and then the quarterbacks that throw it to people who are open.
Right.
Breeze throws guys open.
Absolutely.
Excuse me. A good quarterback, when you're feeling it, and I didn't have that big of an arm, so I had to throw people open. So if you watch Romo back in the day when he would throw it, if you'd always some of his throws when you first started watching him, it looked like they looped. I don't know if you're watching, people were watching. It just kind of did that. When you're seeing the ball do that, that's the touch. I'm throwing it to a point and putting it somewhere. A good quarterback will look at a receiver, and as long as the safety ain't over the top, Hunter, that's when you'll see Romo or an announcer on TV be like, he's got man-to-man here, you can go here.
Right.
Well, that quarterback says, I can go there because I can throw it where the defender won't catch it. I don't think Cam has ever done that. And who was really good at it, Zach, was Troy Aikman. You remember all the comebackers Irvin threw. So, Hunter, they killed people with Irvin would just drive. Kind of like Witten runs his Y route. As soon as the DB turns his hip, stop on a dime, Aikman hit him. Or a lot of that's timing routes. You can say 12 yards, 14, 15 yards. Aikman and them were great at it. The key to it is you throw the ball before the receiver ever breaks.
Yeah.
Right.
If you see a quarterback on any of his plays and do anything, if you see the ball come out of a quarterback's hand and the receiver hadn't broken, you're like, how do you know that? It's just time. And that's a good quarterback. I don't think Cam ever, it's anticipation to throw that. If you got a guy on your left hip, throw it to the left side. He never threw a lot of balls. How many passes do you remember, Zach? Just thinking. And I'll be honest, I remember about 4 or 5 where I'm like, that's a good pass by Cam. Because a lot of times you just don't even, it's just a guy's open. And he would hit guys.
Most
I've
ones I
seen
can
most of
remember
them that
was-
were open. He's overthrown them.
Even a lot of his drops, the guys are open, but he put a lot of heat on it. That's another thing as far as the touch.
Yeah.
If I'm open and we're 15 yards away
don't have
from
to
each
throw it
other,
like that.
you don't have to put the heat on it. You can just throw it to me. Right? You put the heat on the ball when you have to get it by defenders between you and
he was throwing the heat on
guy.
the ball because he wasn't throwing them open. Too.
Right. That's right. Exactly. You're getting right to the point. When you throw like that, you have to throw when they're open, and when they are open, the windows in the NFL close so quickly. He has to do that. Favre would throw a lot of picks too because he did the same stuff. He would just try to jam it in there. Cam gets on his picks when he overthrows somebody and there's a safety over the top. For the most part, he honestly don't get a lot of his balls picked while guarding that man.
Yeah.
Like if I'm guarding that man,
it's gonna
I'm
be
not
a safety,
right?
Because it's a high throw.
And so I believe, just personally, that the worst thing that ever happened to Cam, and people going, here we go, was being voted MVP. Yeah. And here's why. If for 4 years, Hunter, you're a quarterback, and the coaches tell you, you need to work on your mechanics. You need to work on this. Yeah. You need to work on this. And then you make it to the Super Bowl and you're voted the MVP.
You're like, oh, well, it's working. I mean,
once that
what do I gotta change?
You go to the exactly. That mentality, no matter who it is, has to creep in at some point. I just want MVP, and these coaches are telling me to throw it different or stand different. And and he says it all the time. I'm just going to be me. I'm going to, you don't, this line's going to roar, hit all of his little sayings and stuff. And once someone, a lot of times, has found he found personal success and adulation and awards, and then does that translate to still work? Do you still, Hunter, go and say, if I work on my accuracy, how do you get better than MVP? And that's what I think.
Super Bowl MVP.
That he gets.
Right.
That thought kind of maybe entered his mind, and the fact we can say, well, Kevin, that's unfair. And the reason I say it's not unfair is if you look at it across the board, Zach, like you said, he never ever changed his mechanics, and he never ever got better at completing passes. And just basic math, okay? Let's say Breeze completes 10% more.
He's like 70 for his career, ain't he?
Close to that. Let's just say to be fair, let's say 10%, right?
68, 58.
So if Cam's completing at 60%, and Drew is at 70%, well, if you throw 40 balls in a game, that's 4 first downs.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me more about his running ability when Drew's getting, based on his throwing, 4 first downs. Another thing, and the big reason I like completion percentage is one of the stats, is you can call guys dink and dunk all you want, Hunter. But if you complete the pass on a dink and dunk, you know what you didn't do? You didn't get sacked. You got rid of the ball. You got it to a playmaker. You didn't turn it over. You didn't throw it in the stands. So so for example, when a coach calls a running play, they expect the running play to gain positive yards.
Mm-hmm.
If I throw an incomplete pass, is that not a failed play? If a run only gets 0 yards, you look at it as a failed play. So to me, I love the completion percentage because of that fact. Once you drop back to pass and then you plant that foot for your first target, 2 targets, if they're not open, then you dump it off to the 3rd and 4th, and that's what makes good quarterbacks. Now, if you drop back and the first thing you do is swing pass, that's different.
You remember you was talking about going through your progressions, and I don't know how good Cam done his progressions either. You remember the lady asked him the question, and he just lost his mind about routes and how much do you know about route running,
right?
But it really upset him. But you never really seen him going through any of the progressions as much. And you was talking about plays that you remember in your mind. The only ones I can really remember in my mind is Olsen running right up the middle of the field and him hitting him for a 30 or 50-yard touchdown.
Long seam route.
Exactly right. So, like I said, I'm not unhappy with him being gone. I've got a friend.
I think it was one against Minnesota when I was in the house. He threw it, and I was like, "Damn, that's a damn good pass."
As a friend of mine yesterday, he was losing. He's still losing his mind over Cam being gone, them doing him wrong, da 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 da. But it is a business, and a new regime. It's time to move on. And for the 2 packages that you talked about, and you have to throw Teddy Bridgewater in, even if he was a free agent. If you ask me, okay, we're going to give you Teddy Bridgewater, a 5th-round pick, and P.J. Walker for what we gave up, I'm good with it. And we're not any different on money.
Not any different on money, and I'll be honest, you're probably not any different win to loss going into next year if you were going to ride with Kyle Allen.
The second thing is this. You don't have a Cam Newton in the building that might cause division with the new coaching regime. Possibly. If he's not going to be on board. You got Teddy Bridgewater that played with these guys.
I think more people are mad over the fact that Matt Rule, when he took the job, essentially was just lying to everybody saying, I can't wait to get to work with Cam Newton.
Wait a minute. That can still be true.
I mean, it could have been true.
It can still be true right now. He would love to work with Cam Newton, but it just didn't work out with our team, Hunter. You got to word things the right way. I would love to work out with Joe Montana, but he's just not going to work out.
And another telling thing,
he just didn't finish the sentence. Hunter.
Yeah,
he didn't lie. He would love to coach him.
Another
he
telling
just didn't
thing,
want to put his job on the line for him.
You was talking about Ron Rivera not picking him up. Surprised me. I thought he would,
but
nobody else is either.
Mm-hmm.
So you know as much as I do that people talk behind closed doors. They know what everybody that knows what's going on. Yeah.
I was going to pose that question. What's his market?
Yeah, there's
what
no
is his market?
Right now, it's just Miami.
I said this Wednesday, or literally, all it is Miami because LA's sticking with Tyrod and they're probably going to draft somebody. I said this Wednesday. The market for Cam is minimal now because everything that Cam did at one point that was special is not special anymore. You're talking about a 6'6" quarterback that has a lower extremity injury and he's a runner. And his throwing shoulder that he was already inaccurate with, he had surgery on about 2 years ago. And not only that, he's not even the best dual-threat quarterback in the league now.
No.
It's Lamar Jackson or Russell Wilson. So everything that Cam did special, outside of his size, it's not even the best in the league anymore. And you don't even know which Cam you're getting to show up. Is he going to even be... The real question is he even... healthy?
That's what bothers
because
me. Because
nobody has come out and said definitively.
Yeah.
There's been no doctor because they can't get physicals right now.
That's right. I was going to bring that up.
They can't go and get physicals with teams right now due to the coronavirus. Yep. So
nobody knows.
Nobody knows, and it would be a shot in the dark on a guy that's coming off of a lower foot injury. And we've seen this in basketball. Bigs, if they get lower extremity injuries, they just don't last anymore.
Don't you think it?
And this is a more physical sport.
It's probably going to happen after the draft.
Teams will assess need and see what they can get.
To see if, say, if you're Miami.
Yeah, I was thinking in my head that
you're sitting there. They're at 5, right?
They're sitting there at 5.
And
I was wondering if they'd draft Tua and take Cam.
Well, if Tua gets taken at 3, then that would. What I've heard is that Jordan Palmer is Carson Palmer's brother. He works out and trains a lot of these quarterbacks, whether they're current players or getting ready to be drafted. And he came out and said, look, Tua is the poster child for let them sit for a year because he's come off so many injuries in college, and he's getting ready to go into a league to where if you ask him to run around behind a bad offensive line, it's just going to ask for him to get injured. So this would be a perfect time where if Miami really just kind of wanted to move off Ryan Fitzpatrick to attempt to get Cam Newton.
Yeah,
That just hit.
No, I saw them working out yesterday. Tyrod Taylor,
53 minutes. That just popped
but
up.
I don't think that's happening. Tyrod Taylor's
That's a joke.
Taylor's worked with Anthony Lynn and the gangs. They know their offenses. It's more about familiarity. Zach, if you're Tyrod Taylor, why would you work out with him? You got two reasons to work out with him. Either one, you're not fearful of him coming and taking your job, or you already know he is coming taking your job. You wouldn't do it if they might sign him and he might come take. You don't want him to come take your job unless the Chargers have already said, "Hey, we're going to sign Cam. Just go ahead and get ready for it here in a couple weeks. He's got to pass physicals, blah blah blah." Or they already said, "Dude, you're the starter this year. We're not going to get Cam. If you want to work out with him, fine." It don't make sense to me to work out with him if he's a active threat possibility.
To me,
play
it
for
makes
him.
sense for Miami if you did go the Tua route and were hesitant to start him and have him sit for
This
a
is
year.
the NFL.com
give Cam
one,
Newton a
Hunter.
one year deal, and I can promise you this: the NFL.com network. This is blown out of the water, and this is dumb. I want to know how recently that was updated.
What I see?
Hold on,
I'll pull it
Is
up.
it coming up here?
It was an NFL mock draft on NFL.com, and they had Tua going to Washington.
I just can't
That's
see
not,
that.
That's not happening now. There's no way they have three young
March
quarterbacks.
26th.
No, okay, that's stupid. That was I know that. No, that
Mel
was
Kiper?
yesterday.
No, it's
No,
just
Mel Kiper's
NFL.com.
ESPN.
Mel Kiper said 27 years ago that he would quit if Jimmy Clausen wasn't a good quarterback, and
guess
that
what?
he's still slicking his hair up in every April.
Dude, I can promise you this: Washington is going to take Chase Young.
Said he's going to quit.
Tua, you do not have a 3 quarterback competition in them, and they're all within 1 year in the NFL.
That would be stupid.
That would be so
That would be
stupid.
so stupid.
You would be better off bringing in a 4 to 5 year veteran.
We're gonna
for that
scrap that mock
competition.
draft. If you're
That's
watching online, NFL.com.
NFL.com, you are an idiot.
Is this more up your speed here, Hunter?
Yes, that's exactly. I'm telling you right now, unless something
Chase
drastic
Young,
happens,
too.
and somebody trades up for the number 1 pick and sends Cincinnati a ton of picks, 1 and 2 are set in stone. It's Joe Burrow and Chase Young. What you do after that, that's on you, man. But 1 and 2 is Joe Burrow and Chase Young.
So this has got Burrow and Young.
Yeah.
Why is it not putting the team next to it, or is it just
Yeah, it
still
does.
loaded?
It says
projected team?
Projected team. It's right there next to it.
Oh.
To your right.
Yeah, they don't have big.
I want a
they don't
fancy
have the
logo.
logo.
I
They
want
don't have the
something
logo.
fancy. And
They don't have the money.
Jeez, the money to
The money.
put a logo. Here
No,
it comes.
there it
I
is.
told you it was loading. There we go.
All right, there you go.
So there's
Okay.
your Redskins. The addition of Kyle Allen signals that Washington might be more comfortable sticking at number 2 overall, taking Young.
That's
I
what-
would.
Tim, that is literally everything it told me making that move.
Okuda is
for Kyle
a
Allen.
great.
Hunter, if y'all
Great.
pick a quarterback this year, you should just.
Can you guys give
can
me
pull for the
the
Browns.
okay? I was gonna say,
You can
can
pull for
you
the
give
Browns.
me the okay if my team drafts a quarterback and has a 3 quarterback competition with guys that have either been in the league for 1 year or as a rookie? Can I leave my team?
Yeah, I'll buy you a Teddy Bridgewater jersey if that
Can
happens.
I? Because look, no. I already know.
No,
what
I know what
team-
I'm buying him.
I already know what team
I'm buying
going
you a
to.
number 1 PJ Walker jersey.
Yeah.
No.
What if he gets number 1?
No. I'm tired. Look, I told you.
What was
Wednesday.
number was what was he in the XFL?
I
Do
think
you
it was
know?
5.
Was it 5?
I'm telling
Well,
you
Teddy
this.
Bridgewater was
Teddy
5,
Bridgewater
so
was 5.
What
Look,
if PJ gets 1?
Hey, I'm gonna tell you this now. Don't think PJ Walker's not gonna be a quarterback competition in camp. Okay, don't think he won't. He won't work hard. I'm not saying he's gonna beat out Teddy, but he's not gonna be a bad backup. But I'm just saying, I already have a team in mind. If Washington goes that route and pisses me off again, to where I'm just so done
Look,
with the
they
organization, I'm going with
Look,
Buffalo.
they changed that.
I'm
up.
going with Buffalo.
Check that out. He jumped 2. I don't see that happening.
No, I don't see that happening. I think Justin Herbert is trending down. I think he's going to be the 4th
And
quarterback
they got
taken.
so this is it. This is CBS Sports. They've got Herbert at 5 and Tua at 6.
If we knew all of the prospects as good as all these people claim they do, we could just do our own mock draft.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we can do it just as... Listen, I take the Hunter... It's one of the, and the situation made it really fun, but one of the most fun I've ever had is... This is in college, so...
Yeah.
We made bets on the first round of the draft. We bet quarters. Okay? But when you missed, or if everyone missed the pick, the quarters would roll over to the next pick.
Okay.
So you get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if everyone missed pick 2,
Then the
it
next
dropped
person
back.
that got
So
got
the first 10 picks, though, we put extra money on it. So it was 2 quarters for the first 10 picks, and then it was just one after that. Zach, if you'll remember, the year we did this was the year Minnesota didn't pick. Do you remember that?
No.
It was 2003, 4, 5 area, somewhere around in there. And when it come time to pick, I think it was Minnesota at number 4, they passed their time up.
I remember the passing the time. They
Okay? And they jumped back like 5 or 6 spots.
horrible.
So the rule is
Be
when you
fired.
once you pass your time,
Yeah.
you can pick at any time. Have you ever heard of this?
No.
Okay, so all right, let me give you an example, Hunter. So if you guys didn't want to, if you couldn't find somebody to trade with you,
Yeah.
okay, at 2,
Yeah.
and you said, well, I can get Young at 6. I know I can, but I can't get anybody to trade with me. So what they did was they just let their time run out.
Yeah.
Okay. So that put the clock on the next person, which it would be Detroit. Well, it was Detroit's turn, and they had their 15 or 10 minutes to pick. But at any time,
You could jump.
Washington
back
can
in.
run up there and pick. So if say Detroit picked someone they didn't think they was going to pick, and like, oh crap, the Giants will probably pick this guy.
Yeah.
Then they could run up there with their card and pick. So it's live action picking.
Dude.
And when this happened, we were making bets.
Yeah.
Quarters flying everywhere. It looked like Vegas and
Slot machines.
and the Wall Street combined. We were, we all had our mock drafts. We had mock drafts printed out.
Yeah.
Every one of us had our strategies. Everything was just thrown into chaos. The papers were thrown up in the air from people,
yeah.
and it was fun. It's a good thing we thought about tying some type of drinking game to it. We were just drinking while we were doing it.
Right.
But I can highly recommend, Hunter, if you don't know, like we did it one year and it was boring because the first like 7 picks went whatever all the mocks said. So it can be exciting. It can also be boring, but it's kind of fun if you don't know like which one of these teams are going to pick. This year might be an opportunity for that with these quarterbacks. Zach, we were talking last week about how the quarterbacks, picking up high. If you're picking 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th, a lot of times you end up with one of the best players in the draft picking 5th or 6th because these
They always
dumb
going for
teams
quarterbacks
pick the quarterback
out of spot.
early and out of spot.
And you know what's funny about that? Do you remember the Aaron Rodgers draft?
Yeah.
How he just fell out.
He was either going to be 10th or 27th.
Yeah. So
Or first or
and
27th.
I understand they didn't need a quarterback. But
Right,
It's
other teams
funny
didn't need
that he just fell
Ever
out.
since then, teams completely I think that
It
draft
could
might
have
have
been.
done it. Teams decided that they're not going to wait on their quarterback to drop like Aaron Rodgers at the end of the first round. Instead, they'll trade up and pick them. And you're right about that. So there's 22 positions on the field, Hunter.
Yeah.
So if you're smart if you got a draft pick in the top 20, no matter what, you should be able to pick a starter in the top 20. And that's my point about picking quarterbacks high. If he's not your starter, and say like Washington, if y'all get rid of Haskins this year, you have wasted a starting position and a first round starting position. Not a not a third round, a first round.
Oh yeah.
So
I mean, I could just go here and let me see. Let me go to the 2019 NFL draft because we picked Dwayne at 15th.
Zach, did you know that P.J. Walker and Robbie Anderson have thrown a touchdown to pass to each other in Charlotte before? Temple Owls versus Charlotte 49ers. P.J. Walker threw 2 touchdowns to Robbie Anderson.
I was looking up that draft you was talking about. It was 03 draft. They were picking 7th, and the Jaguars got their pick in, and the Panthers shot their pick in. It was Jordan Gross. So they missed on Jordan Gross. That excellent football player.
So what happens, right? So that team, I think it was Minnesota. Was it Minnesota?
They were picking 7th.
So Minnesota, at any time, like I said, they can run up there and pick. So even if they put you on the clock,
Right.
there's actually 2 teams on the clock.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking.
And it says they jumped up there to get it because they was getting passed like crazy because people
Right.
was like, oh. And
Right.
they said they wound up getting Kevin Williams, and they come out and said, oh, he was going to be our pick at 7 all along.
So we took Dwayne at 15th last year. The first round pick, 15th. Pick after that was the Panthers. They took Brian Burns. That was a potential starting defensive end. Dexter Lawrence was taken by the Giants, a potential starting defensive tackle. Bradbury by the Minnesota Vikings is starting center. So anytime you can get a starting offensive lineman, that's great. Jeffrey Simmons of the Titans was a defensive tackle after that. A tight end. We need a tight end because we don't have Jordan Reed anymore because he was so concussion prone. He stayed hurt. We could have had Noah Fant who went to the Denver Broncos. Darnell Savage, free safety for the Packers. He had a fantastic year. Like I understand what you're saying, and I agree with it 100%. If we were to bail on Dwayne Haskins after a year, that was a wasted potential starter looking at everybody that came after. I'm not saying that they're all great, that they're all going to be superstars.
But still a starter.
But they're starter caliber. They're starting caliber.
Right.
We could have had who was in the conversation to have offensive rookie of the year. We could have had Josh Jacobs. Running back. I always scream about how we have too many running backs. Well, you could have had a stud right there in Josh Jacobs. I'm just looking. You could have had cornerback DeAndre Baker out of Georgia. I thought he was fantastic. He went 30th to the Giants. So there are just so many opportunities to get the starting caliber player that I don't think honestly, like I just said, I think if we give up on Dwayne, it was just a waste. The first pick we had in 2019 was a waste. That's like how I feel about the Arizona Cardinals.
I feel bad for Ron Rivera if he's tied to Haskins. Like, how long does Rivera get to say? Because you got to look at both sides of that table. It's not like Haskins was drafted by.
I know, yes,
Rivera.
He was.
It's a brand new coach after 1 year, and
not tied.
That puts a timetable on both of them.
He's not tied to Haskins, but Haskins beat Ron Rivera last year.
Right.
He beat Kyle Allen last year, and he's shown that he can win some games, and he's shown flashes. But he never got a full season to start. At least Kyle Allen has had more starts in the NFL than Dwayne Haskins has, and Kyle Allen was an undrafted player. And Dwayne Haskins was a first-round pick. Now, you can't, to me, there's just not enough tape for you to go ahead and make the judgment call on Dwayne.
I'll just say this, that he's not tied to him. But if there's not a quarterback there that is a can't miss, then I would take Chase Young. And
That's what I'm saying.
It's a no-brainer.
Because of course, I enjoy watching Colin. I like some of the things that Coward says, and he made it a very good point. He said, for people that think Tua is great like he does, the comp is he could be Breeze. But Tua's also got the biggest he could be a bust because he just couldn't. There's the big looming black cloud over Tua's head that you have had 3 to 4 lower extremity injuries your whole college career. You never played a full college season, and now we're asking you to come up here and play in the NFL with bigger, faster, stronger, and they're all NFL caliber players.
If I was sitting there and I had a quarterback problem, and me and Kevin's talked about this before, Andy Dalton's sitting right there. Nobody's going after Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton's not a bad quarterback. If he was playing anywhere other than Cincinnati, he would be considered one of the better quarterbacks. If Ryan Tannehill can get what he got, and you're telling me that Ryan Tannehill's better than Andy Dalton, I'm beating my head on the wall.
No, Dalton's better than him, I would think.
It don't make sense.
Dalton's had more winning seasons than Ryan Tannehill has. The only problem is Tannehill fell into gold last year and had the workhorse of a running back in Derrick Henry, and he's got playoff wins now, and Andy Dalton doesn't. Because Andy Dalton has made the playoffs 5 times.
Oh, yeah.
He just doesn't have a playoff win.
And Cincinnati is always going to be a bottom feeder. I think they're projected last again this year, and the Panthers are, I think, third from last. So right above Washington.
NBC also has Dolphins going Herbert and Chargers Tua on both of those, and both of them have Isaiah Simmons going to Carolina.
Don't have a problem with that at all. He's a very good player. I'd like to see us get a kudos.
I think you guys go Brown.
I'd get an offensive lineman.
Well, you did trade away your Pro Bowler.
Yeah, I don't even want to have discussion.
I've seen pictures of Marty Herney looking at Derek Brown like she's Cindy Crawford or something.
Yeah, we saw that.
So like, I wouldn't be surprised if the Panthers pick Brown at 7. I would say, I mean, the the way that I like to do drafts or look at them, Zach and Hunter, is would I rather pick the best guy at a position in the draft or the
best player
or the fourth best? Let's say, do I pick the fourth best defensive end or do I pick the best center?
Right.
Or the best wide receiver? Like, I want the number one player in the draft, or do I pick the fourth best defensive end?
Yeah, it's just, it's tough because a lot of people look at it as, what do you need? Everybody wants to fill need more than have depth, which can be understandable because like you say you do have a Pro Bowl center, say you do have a Pro Bowl offensive lineman, and you draft a guy just sit behind him. The question is kind of like, did you really get better or did you just get deeper? Or you could address the need, say, okay, we've got the Pro Bowl center, we've got the Pro Bowl offensive lineman, but we can't stop anybody over the top. Do we get maybe the second safety or the second best cornerback or third best cornerback? They're still starting caliber. They can still be a starter, just they're not the number one. But to me, and then they'll look at it and say, but to me, we're better because we've addressed a need, and we can possibly try and see what we can do in free agency. Truthfully, I think that the free agency is going to make a big difference on what people do in this draft, just based on where people landed. I'd have to look deeper into it because there's been over like 100 and something transactions in free agency. We only know about the bigger name guys. I think this could play a big difference in the draft. And speaking of the draft, there was conversation about moving the draft, whether or not it would still be in April, the 23rd through the 25th. Roger Goodell has sent out a memo to all the owners and said there will be no change. We are still running the 23rd through the 25th. So, to me, I think that's a good stance. I think it's fine. You can have the draft with nobody there. You can have the draft where players are already starting to get to the point where high draft picks don't even show up. They stay at home with their families. Jameis Winston and Marcus Mariota were 1 and 2. Or I'm not sure if they were 1 and 2, but that was first quarterback taken in Jameis, and Mariota was second, and neither one of them was at the draft. They were with family. Marcus Mariota was back in Hawaii. So I'm fine. Are you guys fine with them keeping the draft at that time?
They don't have to have anybody there.
They don't have to have anybody there.
They won't have to hear the Giants or the Jets fans boo.
It's a TV.
That'll be the only time Roger Goodell does not get booed.
It's a TV show,
It is a TV show. They're going to get a lot. Hey, they'll get more eyes and ears than they've ever had because everybody's going to be home.
Well, this is pointing out that they're saying the Browns at 10, looking at an Alabama offensive lineman. I'll take anybody that can block for Baker, last year's lineman. We've already got Conklin from the Titans. Last year's linemen were a bunch of matadors out there. If we could get the Redskins to come off Trent Williams for something sometime, it would be awful nice, but y'all are being greedy.
Reports are you offered us Njoku, the tight end, for Trent Williams.
And y'all said no.
We just wanted another.
We
just wanted like an extra pick.
Sorry, we don't want a starting tight end. We for a guy who hadn't played with us in 2 years.
I'm not working in the front office, damn it.
Now, the crazy thing is Cleveland did sign another tight end.
Yeah, Austin Hooper. The problem is as well that Washington is running into with trying to move off Trent Williams is the money that Trent Williams is asking for. Supposedly, this is all coming from Trent Williams' agent. Trent Williams is not even speaking. It's like his agent is speaking vicariously for Trent Williams. But apparently the money that
what he's hired to do.
I know, but it's the money that Trent Williams is wanting to ask is almost turning away suitors.
Because
they don't want to pick him up and then probably not even get to re-sign him because the money he wants.
Trade Trent Williams and the number 2 pick for Odell Beckham Jr. and the 10th pick and be done with it.
I don't want Odell.
I don't think Ron Rivera does.
I don't want Odell. Dude, like you ask a lot of Washington fans, we want Chase Young.
Listen.
Because if there's any chance that he is 25% of what Lawrence Taylor was, we got to take him. We got to take him. If he is as good as advertised,
they say he's better than Nick Bosa. That's interesting.
I'm telling And if he's better than Nick Bosa just won defensive player, defensive rookie of the year. He just won defensive rookie of the year and was on a team that went to the Super Bowl. If Chase Young is better than that, take the Lawrence Taylor thing off of it. If he truly is as good as advertised on the college level and the pros, then he's can't miss. He is can't miss. There's no chance that people look at us in 20 and when they look back at the 2020 draft, our first round pick, like people are trying to do in 2019, and say they whiffed. Then this is a people would say, oh well, it's just a safe pick. We're getting the best damn player in the draft.
Know, right?
He should be going number 1 if Cincinnati just held on to Andy Dalton, but that's not going to happen.
Now,
so
wouldn't they be better doing that?
Oh yeah, Cincinnati would be a lot better doing that. And then we can have the discussion because I love me some Joe Burrow. We can have the discussion if whether or not Washington wants to draft Joe Burrow. I'll have that discussion. I cannot get behind the Tua thing because to me, those injuries are too scary. They're too real.
Well, they got Tampa getting Jordan Love at 14. I don't think Tampa would pick a quarterback right now. They're going to maybe next year. They're giving Brady 1 year. You know what I think they'll do at 14 is they'll pick a cornerback, somebody that can.
What about a good running back? He was talking about one that was coming out from Alabama. Is that right?
From Georgia.
Georgia. It was
DeAndre Swift.
Yeah.
I don't think Brady's that concerned with that.
He can go and get the guy that's at Tennessee right now.
I think they need to do anything and everything
play with them.
Anything and everything they can to
solidify that defense.
Solidify the defense. So in the first round, I'm picking somebody's going to man up, corner, safety. Somebody's going to start on my defense, and then Zach, I think maybe running backs later and to see what they got. But Brady likes those Z routes and whatever. All right, Zach, we got a couple of Mount Rushmores to do.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else, Hunter? You want to run through on the NFL talk? Was there anybody else major coming through? I got a couple of notes. Bruce Arians said they are not going after Antonio Brown.
Yes, I think that's fine.
For anybody that wanted to know.
Yeah. I think that's fine. I don't know. We've discussed, the home team in Carolina, Zach's team, obviously. Possibly where they'll go. What Cam Newton's market is, which is almost nothing right now. Tom Brady's been talked about all offseason, so I think we can finally lay that to rest.
Cam and Antonio Brown to the St. Louis Battlehawks.
I mean, if they want to play, I'm telling you, man, look, Cam, to me, he is going to look at his MVP season and the fact that he made it a Super Bowl. And if no NFL team offers him a job, I think he just continues to work out like Colin Kaepernick's been doing, waiting on that NFL team to make a call. Instead of, because he'll be too prideful to say, I'm going to go be the highest paid player in the XFL. I know it won't be nearly the NFL money, but essentially he's going to give up the opportunity to use the XFL as a platform to put together tape and show, hey, I can still play. That's exactly what P.J. Walker did. He went out there in the XFL, showed he could play, and look what he got. Contracts.
A
lot of them got contracts.
On this one, but not leave here, but I'm talking about we're talking about football, but you're talking about quarterbacks just getting drafted because top 10 because they're a quarterback, right?
Right.
I went back into the Peppers draft. Would you, and let's just say this is this year for your Redskins, right? Would you want Chase Young like we've been talking about, or do you want to, take a chance on the quarterbacks that are there, which is Tua and Abear? Now listen to this. Now, what happened in that 2002 draft was David Carr went first, Peppers went second, and Joey Harrington went third. Mm-hmm. Would you rather have Peppers?
Think about that, Hunter.
You see what I'm saying?
Situation
this is exactly.
That is legitimately
Kevin Durant went 2, Hakeem Olajuwon, and then Sam Bowie went over Jordan at 2. That number 2 pick, the Hornets have gotten screwed at 2 over the years with Michael Kidd Gilchrist.
Yeah.
And no Anthony Davis. So, 100.
That comp is 100% accurate. The 2002 NFL draft, that comp is 110% accurate. Julius Peppers, if you look 1 through 3, Julius Peppers was the better player out of even the top 3 picks.
How it was, they almost picked Joey Harrington, Panthers. You remember? Mm-hmm. They were Harrington.
I loved Joey Harrington.
He was an Oregon quarterback.
He was. I thought he was going to be a stud. I played with him on the NCAA game. I thought that Harrington was it, and he was just average.
Could have been the Detroit thing too.
And then again, Well, you're 100% right, Zach. He went to Detroit.
Yeah.
Detroit they got a serious problem. I always have. They've won one playoff game in the history of the franchise. One playoff
1991,
game
maybe.
in the history of the franchise.
Man, I'm telling you.
And all right, Zach. Well, I'm glad you brought Peppers up. So, with the release of Cam, there's a lot of arguments about. Some people have him as the greatest Panther ever.
No.
Some people don't have him up there. He lost the same number of Super Bowls as Jake Delhomme.
Yeah.
And Jake Delhomme had more winning seasons than Cam, 4-3. And Jake Delhomme has a better winning percentage than Cam. The only thing that Cam has that Jake doesn't is the MVP. And so if you ask anyone, they'll say, and again, every time we talk about this running quarterbacks, Hunter, they'll say MVP, Cam's better than Jake because of that. But Jake won more. And isn't the point of being an MVP, isn't the point of running to win instead of passing to win because you can run, isn't all of that wrapped up in the end, Zach, winning?
Yes.
So my question is, I'm going to give you my Panthers fan Mount Rushmore. And I'll give 3 of them I'm 100% sure on. I would say that. Julius Peppers, Steve Smith, and Luke Kuechly. Steve Smith on who was his favorite. Oh, he liked Jake more.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Steve
saying.
Smith
That
definitely
answers it for me.
Steve Smith definitely liked Jake more because they got rid of Steve when Cam got there.
And they hated each other.
And Steve Smith said Cam can't throw a slant pass. That's why they got rid of me. And to me, unless Cam was overwhelmingly the voting for MVP, you don't win an MVP. Everybody says you won MVP. You were voted MVP. That is some very big semantics there. You either win a championship or you don't, or you were voted. And he was voted MVP, which is fine, but Delhomme won more. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I'm not putting Delhomme there, but those 3 right there. Do you have a problem with any of that I said there?
Who?
I said Peppers, Steve Smith, and Kuechly.
Yeah,
I have no problem with
all
that.
3. That's
I'm gonna put
top
it
three.
this way: if your top 4 don't have Peppers and Smith,
that's my
a
top
problem.
2.
those 2 are definite. I will hear arguments for not Kuechly. My 4th, which I'll hear arguments for now,
You're gonna say
is John Casey.
You're gonna say John Casey.
It is.
Is John
I knew
Casey.
that
It
was
is.
coming. I knew that was coming.
Up until Steve Smith, pretty much, let's say up until the point of Steve Smith getting cut by the Panthers, or maybe even the Super Bowl where they lost, up until the point of that kick going out of bounds in the Super Bowl, John Casey was the MVP of that
Mr. Panther.
team. And the thing about Casey, and they want to blame him for it at Super Bowl. How many points did he score in that Super Bowl himself? Didn't he get some? Look up.
Oh, he hit field goals because it was 32-29 was his final score.
2003 Super Bowls. That just type in.
I'm
Find
gonna
that
say
box.
he got 9. No, I'm gonna say he got. I'm gonna say he got 12.
What does that mean?
I might be wrong. It can't be 12 because the score was 29.
Mm-hmm.
It was a 2-point conversion though, possibly.
Was
Maybe.
that 2004?
It was 03.
The 03 season, 03 Super Bowl was Tampa
04.
and
Yes, but it would be 03-04 season.
right. I'm pulling it up. I found them. I just want to make sure. Now in that score, the score was what, Zach? Again, you remember?
32-29.
32-29. Did John Casey give up 32 points?
No. And we had a good defense.
You'd give it up 14 at halftime. You know how many he gave up in the fourth quarter? 18 points. Did John Casey give up 18 points in the fourth quarter? No. So, to me, blaming someone for giving the other team good field position on one of their possessions is kind of silly to me, but whatever. Let me pull it up. I've got it right here. Old John Casey. He had 5 points.
Field goal,
1 field goal, 2 extra points. He was perfect on the day other than the ball going out of bounds. Zach, who's the other kicker on the other team?
It was, give me a minute, Vinatieri.
Vinatieri. Now, Vinatieri,
Arguably the best kicker
Right.
of all time.
in that game,
Probably 2. I don't know. Gus Kasky might be better.
was 1 for 3 from field goal.
I remember that.
So in that game, Casey was perfect. Vinatieri missed 2 field goals, but he made one that won the game on the final drive.
I'm just going to say this.
Kicked it out of bounds.
I typed in Google,
Yeah.
best Carolina Panthers of all time, just seeing what was ranking. But I'm just going to tell you the first 4 pictures that pop up. Luke Kuechly, Steve Smith, Julius Peppers, Jake Delhomme.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the first 4 pictures that pop up.
What I'm saying is if Kuechly's 3, if I will concede that, and I'll let the Panthers fan say that, I would say you have to argue about 4 between Casey, Jake, and Cam. And I would almost take an argument for all 3 of them.
Yeah.
Because the Cam fans are going to say MVP and the other ones didn't win an MVP.
I'm just not taking Cam on that. I'd roll with not John Casey. I'd roll with Jake Delhomme.
I got you. Ranker.com's got 1 Steve Smith, 2 Luke Kuechly, 3
My wife's
Julius
favorite player
Peppers,
is Jake Delhomme.
and 4 Cam Newton.
Isn't it weird though? I mean that and as a Delhomme fan or Panthers fan, and this is what I get as a Cowboys Romo fan, is that the perception, and that's what my whole thing of Cam being has always been different than the reality. You can say he's the MVP and he's this and that, but it didn't produce more wins than Jake Delhomme. Delhomme got beat by 3 by Tom Brady and the greatest team, one of the greatest teams ever. I just to me it's unfair to Jake to sit there. You ask anybody on the street who's better, Cam or Jake, and they'll say Cam. Well, they both won the exact same thing, except Delhomme
It's going to be
be
recency biased, and what have you done
recency
for me?
bias is just terrible these days.
The recency
bias.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What
Anything
have you
if it
done
happens
for me
now,
lately?
it's better than everything before.
And recency bias is because the last memory anybody has of Jake Delhomme is in a Browns uniform throwing nothing but pick sixes everywhere. Seriously. I mean, because that was when he was shipped out of town from Carolina, and I think that was when they went the Jimmy Clausen route, and then they had also he had the time in Cleveland. That was when Jake Delhomme, whatever his peak was in Carolina, was gone. That was like that was at the time when everybody literally said you were traded to Cleveland for your career to die.
At least they got something for him.
Delhomme was 16 of 33 for
Yeah.
323 and 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Brady threw a pick in that game, and Vinatieri missed 2 field goals in that game.
I think Brady threw a pick to Chris Gamble.
Delhomme didn't throw a pick, and Casey didn't miss a field goal. Yeah. The defense failed you guys in that game.
We did, and we had
You
great
gave up
defense.
32.
We had Mike Manor, Chris Gamble. We were loaded. Peppers.
Panthers fans, one thing y'all will not do is put the blame on
Chris Jenkins.
on the actual blame on who gets that's your defense's fault.
I got a guy.
That's your
Loaded.
defense.
And I think Jack Del Rio was our coordinator. He was a good coordinator.
We got Chris Nelson in the chat.
Squeaky. I know.
Cam Newton, Luke Kuechly.
Who was the Chris guy?
Chris Nelson.
He's come and helped. He did the show with Andy. No.
I thought you was talking about
Viewer.
top players. I'm like,
Yeah,
who's
it's a
that?
viewer. No.
Chris has never played it down for the Carolina
He
Panthers.
says Cam Newton, Luke Kuechly, Julius Peppers, and Steve Smith is on the Mount Rushmore. Cam Newton, Luke Kuechly, Julius Peppers,
So his
and Steve
fourth
Smith.
is the one that we're all, same. Everybody's got
The
that.
3, I'm fine with the first 3, Steve Smith, Julius Peppers, and Luke Kuechly, because arguably Luke Kuechly might be the best defensive player outside of Julius Peppers that the Carolina Panthers have ever had.
Everybody needs to quit when they talk about this, Zach. And for some reason, Panthers, I don't know who it is, but Panthers fans, is it because he left? But they pushed him out of town.
Who, Steve?
Peppers.
Oh, Peppers. No.
They pushed him out of town.
If you remember the Peppers deal,
A lot of people said
he was
loafed,
Peppers. They did, and he wanted to go to a 3-4 defense,
right.
And there was 2 teams that was running that time. You remember the 2? It was Chicago and
Packers.
the Cowboys.
Well, it was Cowboys right then.
And we thought that he was going to go to the Cowboys. I'm surprised he did not go to the Cowboys. He wanted to play a different style.
He wanted to be a stand-up outside
Yes.
linebacker, basically.
Julius
There was
Peppers.
a stand-up.
He wanted to be
stand-up edge player.
Lawrence Taylor on the edge.
Mm-hmm.
Julius Peppers is 4th
All-time sacks.
all-time stats.
That's right.
Like-
Sacks. Yeah, I'm.
Like, what
that's
do you?
it.
What do you
Kuechly
argue?
is not that.
No,
I'm sorry.
Cam's not that. Jake's not that. Casey's not. Even Steve Smith, I believe, who I will believe and fight even if he's undersized, I believe Steve Smith is a Hall of Fame wide receiver.
Absolutely.
But he is not Julius
No,
Peppers.
he's number 2. I put Steve Smith number 2.
People, I mean, to Zach, it just blows my mind the disrespect that Panther fans or anybody gives Peppers. I mean, he was a stud. There's nothing. I have nothing wrong with Julius Peppers, other than I do got one thing wrong.
Go ahead.
His hair at the end of his career was
Yeah, I
awful.
didn't like that. It looked like what it looked.
Trying to relive his younger days.
It looked like what Tim Duncan's trying to
Now,
rock right now, and it just
I
He's the
doesn't
only
look
Tar
good.
Heel basketball player I know that can match up with Zion Williams.
I have I have memories of Cam Newton, of Julius Peppers chasing Michael Vick down from the back.
Right.
He's 6'10".
Right. A big dude.
So,
6'7".
Yeah.
So here's your top 5. Here's your all-time sack leaders, guys.
Reggie White,
Bruce Smith is 1. Reggie White 2.
Kevin Green,
Kevin Green 3.
Peppers.
I cannot believe Peppers retired a half a sack short of passing Kevin Green.
I'd have passed
A
him.
half a sack.
I'd have played 3 games the next year.
I'd have done something.
Yeah.
Chris Dolman is 5.
Oh, he's a good
He
one.
just died this past
He was
year.
a good one.
Strahan 6. Jason Taylor 7. Dolman is one of those people who played in the Midwest, Zach, and don't get credit.
He was
Trust me, as a
great.
St. Louis
He
Cardinals
was a
fan,
great Tecmo Bowl player.
Yes.
How long do you have to be retired before you
I
become
think it's 5
eligible?
years. I think it's 5 years.
I'm about to say eligible for Hall